If you're a fan of the Lexus RX, then we've got good news for you. There's now more of it to love than ever before. This is the Lexus RX L, and as you can see, it looks a lot like the regular RX, except this one has got this little extension here over the rear wheels, which is home to the third row of seats, and that means Lexus has joined the 7-seat SUV club for the first time. So, is bigger really better for the RX?
The RXL arrives in both luxury and sport luxury trim levels, and with two engines, a petrol-powered V6 or a hybrid option that adds an electric motor. Every RXL scores leather seats in rows 1 and 2, and artificial leather in the third. You'll also get heated and ventilated front seats, a leather-wrapped steering wheel, and tri-zone climate control. Expect 20-inch alloys, proximity unlocking, and roof rails too, along with a long and commendable list of safety stuff. Technology in the luxury model is covered by a nav-equipped 8-inch display that pairs with 12 speakers, but the sport luxury swaps it for a 12.3-inch screen and a 15-speaker Mark Levinson stereo. Size-wise, all the new stuff takes place at the back end, essentially from the rear doors back, with Lexus adding 110mm in length to form the RXL, which sits on an identical wheelbase to the 5-seat car. And they deserve credit for not making this 7-seat version look or feel like a behemoth, with the extension in keeping with the style of the 5-seater, with only the more vertical and extended boot line hinting at the third row inside.
Now, you know how there's some 7-seat cars where you can fit 2 adults in the back at a pinch? Well, this one, I'm sorry to say, is not one of them. For one, it requires a bit of acrobatics to even get back here, and once you do, you'll find there's really not a huge amount of room. Now, my knees are pressed into the seat in front of me, and I'm afraid of a serious neck injury from this roof. But worse than that, at my 175 centimeters tall, I'm pushing this seat far enough forward that ride is going to be uncomfortable too. But it's not all bad news. There is room for kids back here, and you can even fit a child seat back here as well. Plus there's 3-zone climate, so I get my own temperature controls, and there's 2 cup holders for the third row as well.
Middle row riders now get an extra 45mm of forward adjustability to compensate for the third row, and there are 2 cup holders hidden in the pull-down seat divider and bottle room in each of the rear doors. Up front, expect 2 cup holders along with a pocket in each door, while the large central storage bin is home to 2 USB connection points and a power source.
Step around to the boot and you get a small but usable space with all 3 rows in place. Now there's 176 litres here stacked to the top of these seats, but drop them both via these handy buttons and that number increases to 433 litres. Drop the third and the second row of seats and you'll get 966 litres of storage.
There are 2 pretty impressive engine options here, a 6-cylinder petrol in the 350L, which pairs with an 8-speed automatic, or that same engine partnered with an electric motor in the 450L hybrid, which pairs with a CVT. Now Lexus claims identical performance figures for both, with a 0 to 100 km/h sprint of 8 seconds and a top speed of 200 km/h.
So why would they do it? Well, luxury SUV sales are booming at the moment, and Lexus reckons 1 in every 5 shoppers wants a 7-seat car, and they of course want a slice of that action. And the good news is, I've only been behind the wheel for an admittedly pretty short stretch, but I'll be damned if I can tell the difference between this and the 5-seat version. This one's 110mm longer, of course, all of that action happens behind the B-pillar, and it's a bit heavier. But it doesn't appear to have impacted the drive experience too much, if at all. Now, it must be said though that even the 5-seat version was never the sportiest model in its segment, and this 7-seat version isn't either. But while it might not be sporty, it is a spacious and airy cabin. All the touch points are lovely. And yes, the space in the third row is very, very tight, but they are handy as emergency seats. So the bad news, well, we're in the 350L luxury, and that carries the heaviest premium over the 5-seat equivalent. This one is about $3,000 more expensive than the 5-seat car, and that's an awful lot of money for a pair of jump seats in the back.
And so Lexus has seemingly added 2 extra seats to its RX range without any design or dynamic drawbacks. If you're a fan of the 5-seat car, there is little doubt you'll be a fan of this one too.